Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shawcraft One in my old barn door, and I'm back to show you how I'm going to do a tip-in using my collage board. And this is my original collage board. This is the one that we did the napkins and the stamping on, and because we've used up our other one, the one that was real busy, it's all gone. We've used every piece of it. I have no scraps left over from it or anything. So throughout all of these videos, I have used all of the busy ones. So now we're going to start on this one. And I've already used this one for a few things, so I only have a piece of it left. So that's the good thing. We can use all of our scraps to make the boards, and then we use all of our boards, including the scraps. So that's a good thing. So what I want to do is I want to make a tip-in my cover of my journal, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's my big journal that I've been working in, and on the inside front cover I want to make a tip-in, or a little booklet that opens up. Okay, so what I want to, if I can talk, what I want to do, I don't want to make it super huge, you know, and it's a good size vertically. So I'm just going to take a pen and mark here. Where is my pen? Here we go. So I'm just going to mark it here, because this is about the width that I want it. Just trying to double check and make sure I've got it at the width that I want it. Okay, so I'm just going to mark it right there, and that way I'll know that's where I want to cut it or trim it. Okay, and so now what I want to do is bring my trimmer over, and we're going to trim it down at our mark. And then we're just going to trim the edges and make everything straight. Because we're cattywampus. Okay. Trim that one down. And then we'll trim the top down. Okay, so now we have it good and squared. And don't throw away this piece, because we can still use this piece for some other things too. That's the good thing. Alright, so now this is the size that I want my little booklet flap to open up to. And on this side, I want to put some kind of paper so that it can be journaled on. So let me find what I want to put here. Hang on. Okay, so I have this really cool cream colored grid paper or graph paper, and so I think what I want to do is attach this down with a glue stick. So let me do that and I'll come right back. Okay, so I've got it attached, and the next thing I want to do, if you see, I've left a little piece open, and I'll show you why. Because this is where I want to attach the hinge to be able to open and close my tip-in. So I need something that I can use for the hinge, and so I have a piece of coffee dyed paper here that I'm going to use for the hinge, and this is about I'd say a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch or so. So I'm going to cut a 2-inch piece of my coffee dyed paper. Let me scoot this out of the way. I'm going to cut just a 2-inch piece. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it in half. And this is going to be my hinge. Okay. Alright. Now then, I need to make sure that I know which way I want my hinge to go. So in other words, let me bring over, I'm trying to scoop some things out of the way. I have too much stuff on my desk. Oh, sorry, I bumped the camera. All right, so basically, I want this to hinge this way, okay? So I need my hinge to open up that way. Okay, so it's going to go like this. So I'm going to attach the inside of my hinge to this piece. So, and as you can see, I kind of messed up and glued this down before I realized I needed to leave a spot for the hinge. So we're just going to glue. Try to scoot this back out of the way. Normally I would have put the hinge on before I put this backing on, but I forgot. So things like that happen. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to kind of line up my hinge with the top edge of the cover. Okay, and then we're just going to fold it down into that all the way down. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to put a little more glue. So that we can push this down over the hinge. And so it just kind of hides the hinge. Okay. There we go. Now that we have that put together, I'm going to trim it down and remove all of the excess. So hang on and let me do that and I'll come right back. Okay. So I've made a mistake and I want to show y'all what I did. Because, well, I'm not perfect. So I put my hinge on the wrong way. So it should have folded the other way. It should have folded into here. But instead, when I glued it on, it folded to the outside. No big deal because it's foldable paper. So you just fold it back to the back side. Not a big deal at all. I just kind of wanted to let y'all know that you have to kind of really pay attention to which way you're putting your hinge on, because if you're like me, you messed it up. All right, so I want to ink the edges of my cover here. Okay, so I inked the edges. I didn't figure y'all wanted to waste time watching me ink edges. All right, so now it's ready to put our tip in our journal cover. Now you can do this on a page. You can do this from top to bottom or side to side. But I just wanted to do it on the cover because I wanted to have something pretty here in the front, you know, to add interest. All right, so now I'm trying to decide, before I tape this down or glue this down, I think I want to put a piece of ribbon to tie around the booklet. So I'm just trying to get my thoughts together and figure out what is the best way I need to do it. And I think what I'm going to do is attach the ribbon to the edge of the hinge. But I need to first find some ribbon. What kind of ribbon do we want to use? I have all of these little ribbons, and I think this pink one will be perfect. Let's use this one, because you don't want something that's going to be too bulky. Okay, so I'm just going to take my ribbon. I'm going to trim this off and make it a square edge. And then I just kind of want to tuck it up under here and bring it up to see how far I think I might need to go. That should be plenty to make a pretty little bow. So we're going to trim it off. My scissors. Y'all, what am I going to do with these dull scissors? Okay. So if I do it on this side, I need to figure out whatever's going underneath needs to have it coming from the other side as well. We'll figure that out when we get to it. We're just going to go ahead and attach this first. So what I kind of want to do is I just want to run a little bit of glue right here and attach this to the hinge first, and I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, or if you want it perfectly centered, hey, measure it out. I'm just not. Okay, so we're just going to attach this to the hinge and let it dry for a second. And then we're going to go ahead and attach our hinge to our cover. So I am going to use my Aleene's. And I'm using a wet glue because I want to be able to move it around a little and adjust it. And I feel like the Aleene's will hold it better than a glue stick to the cardboard on the cover. If you're attaching it to just a paper page, then you should be able to use the glue stick with no problem. All right, and so we're just going to lay this down into here and kind of put it, I kind of want it centered. So I'm just going to lay that down into the cover, make sure it's straight, and I'm going to give it just a second for the glue to get a good hold. And I want to make sure that I open it up and I rub down on this part of it to make sure it holds really well. And I'm going to wipe off any excess glue right there. And that way we get a good grab and it's going to hold good. Okay, so now I have to decide what I want to do on the inside. Because I want a pocket or something interesting, you know, in here. So I think what I'm going to do is take another piece of a collage board piece and make a pocket. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so let me find a piece that I love. Now this is the other one, the one that we did napkins and stamping on. And I think I'm going to take a piece of this and make a large size pocket. So I kind of want to measure above where my ribbon is because I want it to cover up that part. So I'm just going to take a pen and mark it. Where'd I put my pen? There's my pen. Okay, so we're going to mark it right about here. Okay, and I want it to go all the way over here so that it actually kind of covers that hinge. And so we're going to come this way. I'm going to close this because we don't want our pocket to be sticking out of our hinge. So we're going to close this and we're going to mark it right here so that we know to cut inside. Oh, sorry. I marked it right here so that I know to cut inside of that line to make it shorter than the actual tip in. Okay, so now I think what I want to do, let's go ahead and cut this and I'll show you what my thought process is here real quick. So I'm just going to trim right inside of that line. Okay. And then I'm going to find my line up here. And I'm going to trim. Okay. And then I'm going to just trim this and make it a straight edge. Because when you do your collage board and you use the paper sack, it's not a straight edge. Okay. So we just kind of want to straighten everything up. All right. Okay, let me scoot this back over. I'm knocking everything around. It's hard working with a journal this big, just FYI. Okay, so what I want to do is I just kind of want to look and see how this is going to work. So it's going to work just like that. But what I'm trying to decide is if I want to put something here to cover up the rest of the hinge, because I really don't like the raw hinge showing. So do I want to put something pretty up here? I think I do. So let's find a pretty piece of cardstock or design paper that we can put right here. Hang on, let me find one. Can you not get comfortable? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Guys.